Hi all, Ross here, Thomas Classic and Modern. Welcome back to the channel. So here we have episode 3 of our broken up extra long video of an engine strip and inspect. So let's get stuck into the next section of this build. Cheers. Okie dokes. I've just cleaned off the top of the head. So it is stamped John Cooper. Got a reference number on it and 21cc. We will measure the combustion chambers just to verify whether it is still 21cc or whether it's had a skim or anything at previous life. You can see some remnants of the original blue. You can also see some remnants of another blue and some black and all sorts. So clearly it's had a couple of licks of paint, but the original Cooper Works heads were blue. So that's no problem. And again in there, ignore the wet around the outside. It's just where it's run off, but it is definitely damp inside. I've taken the studs out now, and all I've done is I've just given the bores a quick wipe out. So hopefully now you might be able to see better in there what we're up against condition wise. So if you come over this side, you should now be able to see the rust and damage that is in that bore there. And obviously we've got some scuff marks to contend with, as well as some bore wash evidence, some very shiny marks, which are kind of all around. If you look from over that side as well. That is quite poor in there. You can actually, wow, okay. Hadn't done that before. You can actually feel all of those as well. And I've got gloves on. I don't know. I can actually catch my nail on some of those marks in there. So that is certainly a candidate for some measuring. Can't see that honing. I think that's going to need reboring. You can see I've cleaned off just these ends of the blocks here. I'll spin this over now. I need to measure where absolute TDC is. Just get that somewhere near. Turn that over. Put that roughly in the middle of the piston. So I'll turn that over and find, and it is very notchy to turn over as well, which I don't like that. That's just coming up. So if I hold that, just judge there. There, that is TDC. I'll just wipe that off and that off. You see what I mean? I've just cleaned off the edges of the pistons and the edge of the block, so I can get a rough deck height measurement. Now just make sure that's on 0, which it is. I'll slide that over. And we have 13 thou at that end. Make sure we're on 0. Slide that over. And we have 11 thou at that end. So give or take some conrod variation, piston height variation, and deck variation, slanting, etc. We're pretty good there. That's a good one. So I'd just like to do that before we fully strip it. there we go. So yeah, just a little bit of a better view for you there, really. As I said just now, we're going to box on now and strip the timing cover end, and we'll go from there, carry on, get it off the box, and then we'll get the bottom end fully stripped, and I'll show you how I go about numbering things and stamping things ready for stripping. So let's crack on with that. Right, okay, so next thing I want to do now is get this timing cover end off this engine, have a look what we got going on in there. I'm then going to remove all the bolts from the bottom and separate the block from the gearbox. That's my next thing to do. First things first, get our crank pulley off. I never reuse lock tabs. That can go out for Mr. Scrapman. Oh, well, that was easy. Sometimes they can be a bit of a pain to get off those. One thing to check with these, when you pull them off, any vibration damper that's got the rubber ring in, check that this rubber ring is not broken up and separated. This one has just started to. So what we'll do with this is we'll run this through the blasting cabinet and we'll have a look to see whether any of those bits get any worse. Might be a case for a new damper for this one, but we'll see how we go. The back end of it looks pretty good inside, because obviously that is what sandwiches the outside bit together. Okay, so out with all of the bolts. That's interesting. That's quite loose on there. That bolt's okay. Wants to clean up, but it's okay. Normally, these timing covers are pretty stuck on here, but that one is not. Timing chain's pretty good. Seen much worse than that. Aha. Okay, I thought it was. You know when you notice something and you think, was that right then? It was. That oil flinger is on there the wrong way round. And you can see it's been rubbing up against the inside of the timing cover lock. So I wouldn't have thought, you never know, but I wouldn't have thought that would have been like it from factory. So has somebody been in here, put a timing chain on there? But that is the wrong way round, look. So you can see the witness marks around the edge of that oil flinger. And if you look, not greatly visible on this one, but there is an F marked just on there. and F is for front. So that should actually be on there that way to allow for that clearance. So they always reveal something. Part of the reason why I really enjoy getting involved with these things. Sometimes they always tell a story. Get the tensioner off. And then what I will do before we go taking the block off the box is I'm going to take all of these timing gears off anyway and get these out of the way. And then we'll get the engine crane over and we shall lift the block off the box. I shall just show you this tensioner when I get this off, and then I won't bore you with undoing all of the bolts underneath to separate the gearbox. I'll come back just as we lift it off. Not actually that much wear in that tensioner either. So given the mileage of the car, I am suspecting that that is a replacement chain and tensioner, which may explain why that's on the wrong way round. And you can see there now how much of a job the tensioner does. So we had none of that slack in there at all when that was tensioned. So all those people that say you don't need a tensioner, why would you not? So I'm going to press on, I'm going to get these gears off, and I'll come back to you then when we're ready to lift the block off the box. We appear to have lost our volume on the microphones during this section, but what I'm just demonstrating here is how I now lift the engine off the gearbox, and do not ever put any leverage in that gap where I currently have the screwdriver. You will easily damage the gearbox casing. The best place to lever it is just under the main bearing bolts on the other end of the gearbox, which you will see me do. And what I'm also showing here is sometimes the rear end, or the rear face, if you like, of the gearbox can get stuck on the dowels that are in the maiden faces. So generally just dropping it back down and lifting it back up again will free those dowels off. If it doesn't, some gentle leverage either side normally does the trick. And there you will see one of the dowels in question that was actually causing this one to be a little bit more of a pain to get off. Okay, I'm going to just butt in there and we'll leave that video where it is for the time being. I've come to editing that video, and as I suspected, it's a tad too long. So we'll leave things there for the time being. Please look out for the next episode of the video, which will be coming very shortly. And we hope to see you very soon on the channel. In the meantime, please give us a like, a subscribe, a share. And as always, if there's anything else you think you'd like to see in a video, drop us a line and let us know. Thanks very much.